Hi, my name is Nick, and this is Trans Guy Reacts, where I react to women's basketball, collegiate and professional. And today I'm going to react to the WNBA draft. It just happened. It was a very interesting draft, and I want to kind of get into the nuances and things like that. First of all, before I get into the video, I do want to say that I love women's basketball. I've been a fan for 20 plus years. I love all of women's basketball. And I am here for fans who want to learn more about it or who are already fans. If you are someone who has just become a new fan and you only like one team or you only like one player, I'm not the video for you. Please click off. Please click dislike. And I won't come up in your feed anymore. I really don't want that kind of viewer looking at this channel. So, but if you love women's basketball or you're new to women's basketball and you want to learn new things or nuances, I'm the guy for you. So, if you are interested, go ahead and like the video. You can subscribe and you can share it. That'll really help the channel. I do not have comments on. I don't have time for trolls. So, let's get into the video. First, obviously you see here I got the first round up. I'm going to react to every single draft pick and give my kind of opinion on it. Before I even get into that, let's start it off with the hosts. You had Andrea Carter, Ryan Ruocco, and Rebecca Lobo. It was nice to see Andrea Carter on there with her perspective because she is a little bit. She's more entertaining, to be honest. Lobo and Ruocco have been doing analysts and coverage for the women's game for years and years and years, decades even. And they're very good, but they're also kind of boring, to be honest. I'm kind of tired of hearing them, and I would like to hear some new voices, get some other people in here. Same with Holly Rowe. She's really nice, she's really sweet, but I'm just tired of seeing her cover. It's the same people over and over again. We just need some new blood. And so love to see Andrea Carter on there, given a different and better perspective. All right, and then, of course, there was a lot of coverage of Caitlin as she was going to be the number one pick. Absolutely. Like, what else can you say? There's just a lot of her, which is fine. She's the face of the league right now. We do want those eyeballs, so please keep them coming, although it does come with a lot of ignorance. Her fan base is incredibly ignorant, but, they're learning. Hopefully they, over time, will stop being so annoying and attacking of other players just because they have a different opinion. It is what it is. But really excited for her to be in the league and to show what she can do and to bring those eyeballs, like I said. The only other gripe that I have with, in general about the draft was they did show a picture of Tina Charles, the great Tina Charles, and the picture wasn't even her. It was an inaccurate picture. So that was pretty disappointing to be on ESPN and for them to make that kind of error. And another thing that I didn't love was when they interviewed Clark, Ryan Ruocco asked the same question that everyone asks. It's like, how are you handling this? How are you handling this pressure? And it's so trite and annoying, and everyone asks her the same questions over and over again, and she has to give the same answers. And it's like, ask different questions. Like, ask something else and something more dynamic. I did like the setup. It was really nice. Love to see how everyone was dressed. Everyone was dressed to the nines. They were beautiful, beautiful women tonight. A thing to note was that there were quite a few international players who got drafted, which happens every year, and it's a little disappointing to see them go in the first round, to be honest, because if you are a fan, especially if you're a new fan, you're like, who is this? I don't even know who this is. They're not even at the venue, and I get it. Like a lot of teams have international players, but it's a really big turnoff to even veteran fans to see all these international people getting all this attention when you've been following these college players for years and they're getting passed over. But again, it's not about when you get drafted, is who you get drafted by. That is the most important thing, because you can get drafted early, but if you get drafted to a team that's not a right fit and you get cut, then your year's over for the W, and you have to wait until the next year to try to make another training camp. So it is kind of important that who you get drafted by, not necessarily the order. But regardless, I don't really want to see international players in the first round, and we saw 3 in the first round. That was a little much. Do you guys like my catitude? Having some tea here as I go through this. So let's get into it. I'm already talking too much. First of all, obviously Caitlin went to Indiana Fever, which we knew. She's excited about it. She's excited to play with Leah Boston. You also have Alyssa Smith. You have Kelsey Mitchell. You have Erica Wheeler. There's a lot of good players on that team. So we'll see how they do. They're not a great team overall. They're going to lose a lot of games, and the player Caitlin Clark's fans are going to be very disappointed. But they're going to lose a lot of games. But over time, in a year or two, maybe 3, they're going to be a very, very good team. So just look out for that. Cameron Brink going to Los Angeles Sparks makes sense. They lost Nneka Onwumike to the Seattle Storm, so they need a big. She's a West Coast girl. It makes a lot of sense. I'm really happy to see her there. Camila Cardoso going to Chicago. Very, very interesting. I think that makes sense, and I think she's going to do well under Teresa Witherspoon as a coach. She's really intense, kind of like Dawn, but even more so. And I think she's used to that, and she'll thrive under that system. Rickea Jackson to Los Angeles Sparks makes a lot of sense. She's a really versatile player. They can use all the help they can get, to be honest. And so I'm excited to see her play with Cameron Brink as well. So no issues there. JC Sheldon, going to the Dallas Wings, I don't see any problem with this. I'm just kind of shocked at how high she went. I think she's a fantastic player, but I'm curious how her game will translate to the W, but I think it'll probably be fine. I was just really shocked to see her go so high. We'll see. So we'll see what happens. She's a tall guard, because I would say Dallas has a lot of tall post players in it, so having a tall guard might be really helpful. And she can shoot the 3 as well. Aaliyah Edwards going to Washington Mystics. I think that makes sense. They are losing Elena Deladon this season. They did pick up Stephanie, oh my god, I'm forgetting her last name, but Steph. They picked up Steph. But yeah, they need a little bit more help. We'll see how she develops in Washington. Angel Reese going to Chicago Sky is going to make a lot of people happy. I think a lot of people were pulling for her to go to Chicago. She'll bring that attention and momentum, and she's also going to be playing with Carmilla. And I think that both of them will make the team. I don't see any issues with that. They bring a lot of eyeballs and a lot of money. So they're gonna make the roster. Elisa Pile going to Minnesota Lynx, I think is actually a pretty good fit. Cheryl Miller is going to thrive with her in that position. Oh my god, someone's car alarm is going off. You're going to hear it in the background. Elisa Pile going there is going to be great. She's got good size. She's versatile. She can shoot the 3. A lot of good attributes there. Dallas go with international player Carla Leety. I don't know who she is. I have nothing to say. Again, Connecticut Sun go with a guard from Europe, Layla Lacan. Here she's good. I don't know anything about her. New York Liberty go with Marquisha Davis. And her Ole Miss, her coach Yo calls her Eriquisha. So she's going to New York. I think that's a good fit. I don't have any issues with that. New York is kind of considered a super team, so we'll see if there's any issues with her making the roster, but I think they can make some room. Atlanta Dream goes with Niadu Pooch. Actually watched Niadu she was with the Southside Flyers in the WNBL in Australia, and that also had Mercedes Russell, Lauren Jackson. They kind of mentioned that on the broadcast, and I did see her play, and she was very good, actually. I think that's a good addition. Again, surprise a European going in the first round, but it is what it is. She is worth it. She's a great player. So that's the first round. There's quite a few people still left in the room to be drafted, so we'll go to the second round here. Second round, Chicago Sky draft Brenna Maxwell from Gonzaga, and I'm going to be straight up honest with you, very shocked by this. I don't really remember her game. I remember the Trung sisters game more than I remember Maxwell, so I don't have anything to say. We'll see if she makes the roster. Seattle Storm get Nika Mule. That makes a lot of sense. They need a tallish guard, considering they have who can play defense, right? So you got Jewel Lloyd, you got NECA, you got Skylar Diggins. I think it's a really good fit for Seattle, and we'll see what happens. But I think she'll be fine at that position, and that organization. Indiana Fever selects Les Taylor from Ohio State. No issues there. It's just going to be a really tough training camp. I don't know if she's going to make the team. Las Vegas Aces have Deasia Fair, which I'm very excited about because Becky Hammon was very, very underappreciated and overlooked, and then she went off when she got to San Antonio Silver Stars, which are now the Las Las Vegas Aces, and I can see her developing her. I can see her keeping her on the team for development because she could probably see herself in her. And Deasia Fair did mention that she'd won Becky Hammon Player Award 3 times in a row, so that is like high praise indeed. I do think Deasia Fair should have went first round, but I thought she was going to go Connecticut Sun, but I think actually Las Vegas Aces make a lot of sense. They're very, very deep. They don't really need anyone. They're definitely going to be cutting for sure. They have their core group. So, we'll see what happens, but I think she should be able to stay at least for one season. New York Liberty draft Esmeralda Martinez, and honestly, I watch Arizona, but I don't remember her game, so I don't really have anything to say about her. Las Vegas Aces draft Kate Martin, and she wasn't even, she was like in the group, in the audience, and Holly Rose like, I told them they were gonna sit you in the mezzanine. I had a feeling you were gonna get drafted. So she's basically saying she told them to sit her closer to the tables. And that's nice. She's getting drafted. I do not think she will make the team, but she will be able to show what she can do, and maybe that might be motivating for her to continue her athletic career. Maybe she'll go overseas, but I do not think she will make the roster. Connecticut Sun drafted Tayana Jackson. Honestly, don't know much about. I don't watch Kansas. I don't know anything about her. Atlanta Dream Isabel Borlase, Australian. Australians are good, so it makes sense to draft them. Doesn't mean they're going to play this year. It could be next year. We don't know. Washington Mystics draft Kaylin Trung, so very interesting. Her sister Kaylee did not. I don't think she declared for the draft. Only Kaylin. So really interesting. I don't think she'll make the team, but you never know. I don't know what's going on with Washington. There's a lot of moving parts at that organization, and with Elena Delle Donne not playing this year, it's just really, I don't know. Just don't know what's going to happen. So maybe Connecticut Sun draft Helena Puya from Arizona. I do remember her playing, and she's technically an international player, but she went to college here. So I think that's fine. I just don't know. I don't know. New York Liberty, Jessica Carter from Mississippi State. I think that's a fine addition. I just, again, the rosters are just real, real deep. We'll see if what happens with that. Las Vegas Aces drafting Elizabeth Kitley. I think that's a fantastic read. She's a really tall center. She's going to be a really good fit for them, not this year, but next year after she heals. She'll be able to soak up a lot of information. She'll go to all of the practices, the games. I think this would be a good fit for her. And I think she could do well in the W. She's just injured right now. I'm kind of surprised she got drafted so late, but considering she's injured, you don't really need to draft her high, but I think she'll do pretty good in Vegas actually. She's gonna have to beat out several people's positions, but it is a possibility. Becky likes to switch out her centers every now and then. Now let's go to the last round, round 3. And to be honest, when you get into round 3, it's not impossible to make a roster, but it is really slim. There are people in the second round who make rosters and go on to have really great careers, but once you get into the third, it's getting a little tough. You're going to have to really show out in training camp because there's just so many other great people there. Or, I hate to say this, but like, basically just be available so when there is an injury, because inevitably there will be an injury, especially as we keep expanding the amount of games. Last year it got expanded from like 32 games to 36, and then this year it's going to 40 games, so people are going to get hurt. So there'll be opportunity there. So Phoenix Mercury picked Charisma Osborne. No issues there. They need some help. They've been kind of in a rebuild year. The fact that they hired a man who's never coached women's basketball in his life and didn't ever watch the W, I think is very telling in terms of where that organization's going, and they're going to struggle. But we'll see what happens with you have Diana Taurasi, who's the GOAT. You have Brittany Griner, who's the GOAT. You have Sophie Cunningham. They're really good. They'll probably end up just coaching themselves, but, I'm very not happy with that hire, and I don't think he is appropriate. Especially they're paying him. He's making the most money in the league. Has no experience making the most money. If that is not sexism, I don't know what is. Anywho, we got Seattle Storm, Mackenzie Holmes coming from Indiana. She's a great player, but again, there's just not enough room on these teams. I don't know. It's possible, but I just don't know. Indiana Fever, Leilani Correa from St. John's. I don't think that's. I don't think she's gonna make a team. Los Angeles Sparks, Mackenzie Forbes from USC. She played fantastic. Coming from Harvard, she transferred over to USC this year. She's playing so good. I think she actually could be a good addition to Los Angeles Sparks. I just don't know if they have the space for her. But she is a very effective and very strong player. I think I of these people, I really do think Mackenzie Forbes has a really good shot. Phoenix Mercury, Jazz Shelley, don't know who that is. Washington Mystic, Natsia Claessens from Belgium, an international player. Minnesota Lynx, Kiki Jefferson from Louisville. Yeah, she's fine, but again, these rosters are just they're just a lot of people on these teams. And then you have Atlanta Dream going Matilde Villa, another international player. And then number 9, Dallas Wings draft Ashley Owusu from Penn State. I've been following Ashley for a few years now, and I thought she was fantastic at Virginia Tech, but just wasn't getting enough minutes. And then she got hurt, and then really didn't, it was kind of done. She ended up transferring to Penn State. They did well. They went to the WBIT, which is the new postseason tournament from the NCAA, because they now care about the second tier postseason. It used to be the WNIT was like the postseason for people if they didn't make the NCAA tournament. But now that women's basketball is actually like popular, the NCAA was like, oh, we actually care about this, so we're gonna make our own league, our own postseason tournament, like a second tier tournament, and they're calling it the WBIT. Penn State went in that. I think they lost in the semifinals to Illinois, but made a great run. They're a strong team, and I think Ashley has a fantastic game. She just hasn't been in the right light, so maybe she can make a name for herself in Dallas. Maybe she can make a spot. I do think she's a fantastic player. Connecticut Sun draft Abby Sue from Columbia. Kind of local. She went to an Ivy League in New York, so interesting. She's a really great player, so we'll see if it translates to the W and if there's room on the roster. And then New York Liberty draft Caitlin Davis from USC again. Really great player, really solid, but is there room on the roster? Don't know. And lastly, we have Las Vegas Aces drafting Angel Jackson from Jackson State, which is an HBCU. Really cool. I'm glad that some HBCUs are getting some love. But again, this roster is so freaking deep. I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. But that is the breakdown of the draft. It was pretty interesting, especially I think the most significant is the first round and how everything kind of shook out here. I'm really surprised by some of the people in particular orders, but I think where these people are going makes a lot of sense, and I do see success for them in these organizations. So I'm happy. I'm looking forward to the future. The league starts on May 14th, I believe. So it's going to be really fun seeing these players in action. If they get any action, a lot of these players are coming off the bench. Let's be real, but it'll be good to see them and see their growth. I'm happy and excited to have the vets, see my veteran players come back, and also to school these new fans that are coming in thinking that the WNBA people who have been in the league for a long time are jealous. And I'm like, they are not jealous. They just have been doing this for a long time, and they actually have the experience. And you guys, the people who are ignorant out there saying these dumb things about them and being jealous, don't know anything. I think they think that like the NIL makes them jealous. But I'm like, these players make a lot of money outside of the league. They have their brand endorsements. They play overseas where they're compensated far higher than they are in the WNBA. And so they're not hurting for money. It's not that. It's that there's not any attention given to the WNBA, which is a higher caliber of game. So we hope that all these college eyeballs are going to come to the WNBA, see the caliber, and get attached to players and to storylines, and see that like it's actually better in the WNBA. You think the NCAA is good? Now watch the WNBA, and you're gonna be fucking blown out of your mind. Okay, it's really fucking good. Anywho, that's my spiel. Really excited for the league and things to come up. I'm going to be posting videos almost every day here, kind of leading up to it. I'm going to be talking about some college basketball players. I'm going to be talking about some WNBA players, just highlighting some things. So really looking forward to making that content. And if you are interested, please like, please subscribe, please share this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later.